Hey everybody, I'm Tara. Welcome back to the Three Bookshelves. So we've all heard the phrase, the book is better than the movie, but I don't necessarily agree with that. There are several movie adaptations that I think were improvements on the book. Ready Player One is not one of those movies. Before we get into it, I have to give you a big ol' spoiler warning. I will be going into the plot of the book and the movie and how they differ, so if you haven't seen the movie yet, or if you haven't read the book yet and you don't want to be spoiled, this is not the video for you. So I am a big fan of film adaptations, and like I said, a lot of the times I like the movie better than the book. I generally don't mind when they change a lot of the source material because I understand and appreciate why certain things need to be changed to take a story from the page to the screen. And I know that sometimes those things make the story even better. But I'm pretty sure that the people who made the Ready Player One movie just read the blurb on the back of the book and went, yeah, we got this. And I'm sure that the many changes that they made to the book were determined by asking one question. How can we make this more Hollywood? I can just imagine how the conversation went. Wade's low-level avatar is stranded on the planet where he goes to school? Nah, let's trick him out with some cool gear and give him a DeLorean so he could zip all over the oasis. Wade solves the first clue. Nah, that'd take way too long. Let's just skip the whole thing and say some random guy solved it. The first challenge is a dungeon from D&D and an arcade game battle? Boring. Let's make it a Fast and the Furious street race with King Kong. What's with all these games and movies from the 80s? Nobody likes that stuff anymore. Let's make the whole contest about Halliday and his unrequited love for his best friend's wife. Drama! The story ends with Wade and Artemis finally meeting IRL and a well-earned payoff of Wade's personal journey and growth. Nah, let's just hook him up halfway through the movie. Oh, and give Artemis some short shorts and a sweater that won't stay on. Yeah. My glasses are all foggy. Now there are a few changes that actually made sense, like cutting out the gate challenges. Having 2 challenges for every tier of the contest would have made the movie way too long and repetitive, so good move there. The car chase with Sorrento pursuing Wade and Co at the climax was a great addition in the book. They are all safely tucked away in Ogden Morrow's mansion during the battle for Castle Anorak, but putting in that chase really upped the stakes and made that climax much more intense and suspenseful. Ditto on Artemis taking Wade's place in the infiltration of IOI. I did like that part of the book, but I know it would have been really boring to see Wade hacking through their systems in between shifts as a tech support guy. Having Artemis legitimately incarcerated and then using the Sixers rigs to work against them in the Oasis hit all the same landmarks for the story, but in a much more entertaining way. Those are the sorts of things you expect to see in a film adaptation. Things that make the story tighter and add tension and suspense and excitement without compromising the story itself. But that's what they did with almost every other change. They compromised the story of this book. I get that a lot of the things in the book wouldn't have translated well to the screen. Believe me, I get it. But Ready Player One is supposed to be this geek's odyssey, and they took everything geeky and threw it out the window. D&D, first-gen video games, the MMORPG aspect of the Oasis itself, hyper-obsession with fandoms, all gone and replaced with big splashy Hollywood stuff. And that big splashy Hollywood stuff buried a lot of the book's deeper themes and emotions. In the book, all the main characters are isolated and outcast in the real world. Wade literally seals himself in his apartment and dedicates every waking moment of his life to finding Halliday's egg. Artemis and H have issues with self-esteem and self-identity, and they use the Oasis to recreate themselves. And Dido and Shoto are in a support group for young people who have remove themselves from society because of their addiction to the Oasis. But the movie gets rid of all that to bring the high five together IRL very early on. Maybe because it would have cost too much to keep them in the Oasis the whole time, but you know what, if they hadn't blown so much of their budget on a race that didn't need to be there in the first place, maybe they could have done it. In any case, getting rid of that isolation changes the foundation of those characters and their arcs throughout the story. Speaking of foundations, let's go back to Wade's. He starts out in the book as a nobody. He has this bare-bones avatar with crap gear, he's stuck on the planet where he goes to school, but he dedicated his life to learning everything he could about Halliday and the 80s pop culture that Halliday loved, in hopes of that knowledge leading him to solve the clues and beat the challenges and win the contest. And he did. He went from being a nobody to being one of the most powerful people in the whole world because he worked for it. And the movie craps all over that. Forget years of researching thousands of areas of interest and mastering hundreds of video games and memorizing movies and analyzing the maze of thoughts within Halliday's journal. That's all gone. Instead, there are visual recreations of Halliday's memories collected in a museum for anyone to go watch, which basically does all the work for you. So much for the notion that hard work pays off. They even managed to botch the best quote of the entire book, where Halliday tells Wade, "As terrifying and painful as reality can be, it's also the only place where you can find true happiness, because reality is real." I was actually really excited when they got to that part of the movie because they were doing the whole speech word for word, right up until Halliday said, "Reality is the only place where you can get a decent meal." That was apparently a nod to a Groucho Marx quote. I guess they threw it in as an Easter egg to fill the void of all the other Easter eggs that they took out from the book, but did they really have to ruin the one heartfelt and serious sentiment they actually carried over from the book? And they couldn't even commit to some of the things they shoehorned in, like the underground resistance to IOI. Great idea in concept, but concept was about as far as they got. Artemis says, "Welcome to the rebellion, Wade." And then IOI storms what I guess was their hideout, and then nothing. So why even bother? And when Wade hacked Sorrento's rig so Sorrento thought he had come back to the real world, but he was really still in the Oasis, again, great idea, I loved it, but the explanation of how they did it was, first of all, a really clumsy exposition dump, and secondly, flew by so fast you couldn't make sense of it. So I guess we're just supposed to accept that it could happen and not ask questions. Same thing with Wade's relationship with his aunt. In the book, he hated her, so when she died, we really didn't care. So the movie made him not hate her. I want to say that he loved her, but I can't because they kind of implied that, but they just didn't follow through. They could have had Wade give her a hug or something, anything, but they didn't, so her death still fell flat. Oh, and then there's changing Shoto's name to Sho. Why? Why? There is no reason for this. They just did it to piss us off. So to sum up, I did not like the Ready Player One movie. I'm not even gonna bother going into the movie's validity as a movie itself, the acting, the character development, the plot line. I just don't care. I imagine it would be great for people who haven't read the book or who didn't like the book because it's not a bad movie per se. It's got everything you want in a big blockbuster. It's a great adventure, it's action-packed, it's full of suspense, it's a visually stunning world, and it's got a good balance between drama and humor, but as an adaptation, it fails miserably. I knew going into this that the movie wasn't going to be an exact replica of the book, and I didn't want it to be. I know that a lot of what's in the book is not going to work on screen, but they could have retained more than they did. They did not adapt this story. They took the title and the premise and made something completely different out of it. After waiting years to see a Ready Player One movie, I honestly wish it had never been made. Let me know down below what you guys thought of the Ready Player One movie and how it stacks up against the book, especially if you disagree with me. If you loved the book and you also love the movie, please tell me why. I hope that hearing another perspective might make me appreciate the movie a little bit more. And that is all I have for you today. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed my little rant. I'm sorry it was more of a rant about what the movie changed in the book rather than an actual review of the movie, but ranting is about all I can do right now. If you did enjoy my rant, give the video a big thumbs up, subscribe to my channel, you know what to do. And until next time everybody, happy reading. Bye-bye. I'm sorry, I'm so sorry, I'll never do it again.